Depression. It's a word we've all heard, but do we truly understand what it means? In this video, we're going to dive deep into what depression really is, breaking down the myths, explaining its causes, symptoms, and how it can affect people's lives in ways you might never have imagined. If you or someone you know has ever wondered if they are dealing with depression, or if you just want to understand this complex condition better, this video is for you. Did you know that depression is not just about feeling sad? It's a serious mental health condition that can impact every aspect of a person's life, from their daily routine to their relationships and even their physical health. By understanding what depression truly is, you'll be better equipped to recognize its signs and seek the right help, either for yourself or for someone you care about. Are you currently feeling overwhelmed or wondering if what you're experiencing could be depression? Or maybe you know someone who seems off, and you're worried about them. Stay with us as we uncover everything you need to know about depression, how it manifests, and most importantly, what can be done to manage and overcome it. Depression is way more common than most people think. It's actually the leading cause of disability worldwide. Let that sink in for a moment. When we talk about depression, we're not just talking about feeling down once in a while, we're talking about a serious condition that affects millions of lives. In the US alone, almost 10% of adults are dealing with depression. That means that out of every 10 people you know, at least one might be going through this right now. It's everywhere, and yet, so many people still don't understand it fully or feel too embarrassed to talk about it. Why is this important? Because recognizing how widespread depression is can help us take it more seriously. We need to stop thinking of it as just a phase or something people can snap out of. Depression is real, and it's impacting a lot of people around us, whether we realize it or not. By understanding how common depression is, we can start breaking down the stigma. When we talk openly about it, we make it easier for others to share their experiences and seek help. The more we know, the better we can support those who are struggling. We've all had those days when everything feels a bit off, maybe you didn't sleep well, or something just didn't go your way. These are moments where you feel down or have the blues. It's totally normal to experience these feelings, and they usually pass once the situation improves or after a good night's sleep. These feelings are temporary and generally don't interfere much with our day-to-day lives. They're just part of the natural ups and downs of life. But depression is a whole different ballgame. It's not just about having a bad day or feeling sad for a while. Depression feels like a heavy, unshakable cloud hanging over you, blocking out any light or hope. It lingers, often for weeks, months, or even longer, and can make even the simplest tasks feel impossible. Imagine trying to walk through a thick fog where every step takes twice as much effort. That's what living with depression can feel like. The tricky part is that people often confuse these two experiences. Someone might say, "I feel depressed today," when what they're actually experiencing is just a rough patch. This confusion can minimize the seriousness of clinical depression, which isn't something that can be overcome with a bit of positivity or a quick fix. Depression is a medical condition that affects both the brain and the body, requiring appropriate treatment and support to manage. Understanding the difference between feeling down and being clinically depressed is crucial. It's about recognizing when you're just having a tough day and when you might need to consider reaching out for professional help. If what you're feeling doesn't seem to lift and starts affecting your daily life, it might be more than just a bad day. Recognizing this can be the first step toward getting the help you need to feel better and reclaim your life. Depression can show up in so many different ways that it's often hard to recognize at first. It's not just about feeling sad or down all the time, as many might think. For some, it might mean losing interest in activities they once loved, like hobbies or spending time with friends. You might find yourself feeling like you're dragging through each day with zero energy, struggling to muster up the strength to even get out of bed in the morning. This lack of motivation and fatigue can be relentless, making every task feel like a mountain to climb. Sometimes, depression messes with your appetite and sleep patterns, which can be really confusing. You might find yourself eating way more than usual, turning to comfort food to try to feel better, or you might lose your appetite entirely and barely eat at all. Sleep is another big one. Some people can't seem to get enough of it, feeling exhausted no matter how much they sleep, while others might struggle to fall asleep at all, their minds racing with worry and fear even when they're beyond tired. Depression can also sneak in with harsh, self-critical thoughts that you can't seem to escape. You might feel like you're not good enough, or like you're a burden to those around you. These feelings of guilt or worthlessness can be overwhelming, creating a vicious cycle of negative thinking that feels impossible to break. It's as if your mind is stuck on repeat, playing the same negative messages over and over, making it hard to see any positives in yourself or your life. It's not uncommon to feel like your brain is in a fog when you're depressed, making it tough to focus on even the simplest tasks. Things that used to come naturally now feel like a massive effort, and your mind might wander off, lost in a haze of worry or sadness. In some cases, these feelings can lead to darker, more distressing thoughts, like wondering if things would be easier if you weren't around anymore. If you ever feel this way, remember that it's okay to reach out for help. Recognizing these symptoms is a crucial step in understanding what you're going through and finding the support and treatment you need to start feeling better. It's not a sign of weakness, it's about finding the right tools to help you navigate and overcome a very tough battle. Depression isn't just something that happens in your mind, it's a physical condition that affects the brain in very real ways. When someone is dealing with depression, there are actual structural changes that can occur in the brain. For example, areas like the frontal lobes and the hippocampus, which are important for regulating emotions and memory, can shrink in size. This isn't just a metaphor, it's a measurable change that can have a big impact on how a person feels and functions day to day. In addition to changes in brain structure, depression also affects brain chemistry. Neurotransmitters like serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine, which play key roles in regulating mood, can get out of balance. It's as if the brain's wiring is faulty, making it harder for someone to experience pleasure, motivation, or emotional stability. When these chemicals aren't functioning as they should, it can feel like an internal circuit has broken, leaving someone stuck in a persistent state of sadness or numbness. But the impact of depression doesn't stop there, it also affects the body's internal rhythms and hormonal balances. Circadian rhythms, which are the body's natural sleep-wake cycles, can get disrupted, making it hard to maintain regular sleeping patterns. Hormones like cortisol, often referred to as the stress hormone, can also be elevated, adding to feelings of fatigue, anxiety, and stress. These physiological changes don't just happen in a vacuum, they reinforce each other, creating a feedback loop that can deepen the experience of depression. Understanding that there are physical changes in the brain and body associated with depression can help break down the stigma around mental health. It shows that depression isn't just about feeling sad or not trying hard enough to feel better, it's a genuine medical condition that affects the body just like any other illness. Knowing this can encourage a more compassionate approach to those struggling with depression, recognizing that they need real support and treatment to heal. Depression is incredibly complex, and there's no single cause behind it. Instead, it's usually a combination of different factors, both genetic and environmental, that contribute to its development. For some people, there might be a family history of depression, which could mean they're more likely to experience it themselves. This genetic link can play a significant role, making certain individuals more predisposed to depression than others. Then, there are life events that can act as triggers. Losing a job, going through a tough breakup, or experiencing a traumatic event can all push someone into a depressive state. However, it's not always easy to pinpoint one specific cause. Sometimes, depression just seems to come out of nowhere, and that's what makes it so frustrating and confusing. It can be hard to understand why it's happening when there isn't an obvious reason. What makes depression particularly tricky is that there's no clear-cut way to predict who will develop it or when it might occur. The onset of depression is a result of a complex interplay between genetics, environmental influences, and personal experiences. This unpredictability means that anyone can be affected, and it often catches people by surprise. Because of this, it's essential to stay informed, remain empathetic, and keep an open mind about what others might be going through. By understanding the various causes of depression, we can better empathize with those who are struggling. It's not about having all the answers or knowing exactly why someone is feeling the way they are. Instead, it's about recognizing that depression is a multifaceted condition that requires understanding, patience, and support. Compassion goes a long way in helping someone feel less alone in their struggle, and being informed can make a big difference in how we support those dealing with depression. If you're looking to dive deeper into the complexities of depression and truly understand its impact, then The Noonday Demon, an Atlas of Depression, is a must-read. Just as the name suggests, this book is a comprehensive atlas for anyone who wants to explore the many layers of this condition. With powerful insights, personal stories, and thorough research, it offers a profound look into what depression is and how it affects those who live with it. Click the link in the description to get your copy now. One of the biggest challenges with depression is that it often goes undiagnosed. Many people might not even realize they're depressed or might be afraid to seek help. On average, it can take over 10 years for someone to get the treatment they need. That's a long time to suffer in silence. But here's the good news: depression is treatable. There are lots of different options out there, like medication, therapy, and even newer treatments like transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS. It's all about finding what works best for you. The key is early diagnosis and getting the right support. The sooner you recognize what's going on and reach out for help, the better your chances of finding a treatment that works. It might take some time to figure it out, but it's worth it. Remember, getting help isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. You're taking control of your life and doing what you need to do to feel better, and that's something to be proud of. Talking about depression can feel scary, but it's one of the most important things we can do. When we're open about what we're going through, we make it easier for others to open up, too. It creates a safe space for people to share their experiences without fear of judgment. It's also important to understand that clinical depression isn't the same as just feeling sad. It's a serious condition that needs to be taken seriously. When we minimize someone's experience by comparing it to everyday sadness, we make them feel even more isolated and misunderstood. Having support from friends and family can make a huge difference. Just knowing that someone is there to listen and understand can be incredibly comforting. It's not about fixing things but being there for each other in a real and meaningful way. Understanding depression is just one step towards better mental health. But did you know that something as simple as talking to yourself can also be a powerful tool for improving your well-being? In our next video, why talking to yourself might be healthier than you think, we dive into how self-talk can help you manage your thoughts and emotions, just like understanding depression can help you navigate tough times. Don't miss out. Click to watch and discover how this surprising habit can positively impact your mental health.